Dr. Leonard Horowitz and investigative journalist Sherri Kane join us right now. You can go to fluscam.com to see the affidavit and see all the other research Dr. Horowitz has. We're going to go back to them in just one moment. I did want to tell all the TV viewers that I consulted on this film. I am one of the main featured people in the film. So my detailed research on the FEMA camps, where they are, how they're run, how they're rolling out the military, Northcom, how they use sports stadiums under Operation Top Off, and their tabletop exercises in NLE 09. This is really a film I'm proud that I'm in, and I'm really proud of the job they did. For anybody that wants to know the truth about concentration camps in America and how they want to use pandemics and other excuses to roll it out and condition everybody to accept it, Camp FEMA, American Lockdown, is the film, ladies and gentlemen. It's available at Infowars.com. You can also get some of my other films at half price when you get them with Camp FEMA. And it is just an amazing documentary. I hope everyone will visit Infowars.com and order the DVD. We've been shipping it out since last week. In fact, we even got it first. We're shipping it before anybody. And these are sold out many other places. We happen to have them. So, again, Camp FEMA American Lockdown that I consulted on and I feature massively in. Just an amazing job by William Lewis and Gary Franchi. And will we end up in these camps? See what the experts have to say. Camp FEMA boasts an all-star lineup of guests who have dedicated their lives, sacred honor, and fortunes to upholding the U.S. Constitution. The evidence is strong and their warnings are clear. Camp FEMA available at Infowars.com on the online video bookstore. You can also call toll-free 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. Or you can, again, also write to us. It's 1995. P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760. Again, that's Infowars.com, P.O. Box 19549, Austin, Texas 78760. Camp FEMA, Endgame, Terror Storm, the Obama Deception, books, videos, all the best stuff I've seen out there. Not just my films are there. We also are now carrying Dr. Sherri Tenpenny's book, Foul, revised and updated. Bird flu, it's not just what you think, goes along the same line as the swine flu, understanding the police state, what the vaccines really do. That's available at Infowars.com as well. And she's joining us, by the way, on Thursday. Dr. Ron Paul is also on. I want to get back with Miss Kane and Dr. Horowitz here in just a moment. But first, Dr. Horowitz, you have tetrahedron.org. You have other sites, and you have researched this, and you have also a lot of fact sheets and other things about how to get your immune system up, how to protect your body. Tell us the best site to learn about your books, your films, your materials.
Well, the best preventative that I recommend is oxysilver.com, and the best place to order it is online at 888-508-4787. I'm sorry, for people who are not on the internet, they can call toll-free 888-508-4787. I don't worry personally. My family doesn't worry about the flu because we are covered by OxySilver. I urge people to learn about it because it's not just even a top-rated silver hydrosol. It goes way beyond. It takes people into, and actually is the first nutraceutical that actually brings you into the understanding of bioenergetics for protection, which is where we really should be going.
And I'm going to have you back up in the next week specifically on that, so people can go to fluscam.com and find that?
Yeah, fluscam.com has links to OxySilver. Also, the affidavit, like you mentioned, is on there. There's a tremendous amount of information. There's counterintelligence propaganda flying everywhere. The National Vaccine Information Center.
Yeah, let's stop right there. That's a good next question. You're believing they're going to release something. Finish up with that. And then let's get into their counter-propaganda, their lies. I see them on the news saying there's no mercury in it, even when they admit down in the article that there is thimerosal. I see them saying there's not an adjuvant in there. I see them just engaged in unbelievable propaganda.
Okay, now, you mentioned earlier on, and I applaud you and Charlie Sheen for putting this into the release that you guys did on 9/11. You know, remember they said they already reported Building 7 was pulled before it was pulled?
Yes.
Now, this is the same kind of thing. They're reporting that this is going to be a horrific thing before it's a horrific thing. And they're actually, if you look at Ms. Kane's research and my research into the Partnership for New York City, and you have the Rockefeller link to the royalty of Europe. Literally, this organization was chartered by the royal family of England. When you understand the Rockefellers are behind everything from New York City Blood Council that put together the New York City Blood Bank that, like Baxter, spread contaminated HIV in the blood supplies. Baxter, of course, put it out in the clotting, Bayer Corporation put it out in clotting factor 8, and Baxter put it out in the heparin. HIV, we're talking AIDS. We're talking
again, these are on-record mass killers. They were convicted of that in French courts and didn't even get in trouble worldwide. And it came out in the court documents that Bayer especially knew for 10 years it was in the factor 8 and shipped it out to millions. I mean, they are, again, the history these people have of doing this over and over again, and then we're the weirdos for not trusting them.
Right. So this is why I'm very concerned. I mean, honestly, I think that these people's backs are up against the wall. We've been out there successfully now persuading the public to open their eyes. And so they're really now stuck between a rock and a hard place. They've got to, in essence, produce a pandemic. They've got to show us that they were right all along. And that's what I'm mostly frightened about.
Now, you spoke yesterday, and I want to get you to comment on this, and then Sherri, and this is in the UN press releases. We've covered it. It was in documents 3 months ago, and 4 months ago, and this really got going in April, that they have these virus simulants, and they use other terms that are really viruses, that they say they released to prepare people's immunity. I mean, and then they just kind of announce this huge issue like it's no big deal.
Yeah, that was confirmed a couple of weeks ago by the World Health Organization when the propaganda became thick and heavy because they realized that the physicians already, over 50% of the doctors are not going to take it, nor are they going to prescribe it for their patients. So when they needed to promote this flu vaccine, the World Health Organization issued a statement wherein they actually reinforced what I had already reported with you on this show, whereby we said that Dr. James Robertson, the World Health Organization director for influenza, who was in charge of selecting the viruses for the vaccination companies, and that this doctor and Dr. Woods, who he works with, came out and actually said that we're going to release in advance, we're going to seed the population with viruses to, allegedly, they say, enhance our immunity against the pandemic that's forthcoming. So that's what we reported with you, Alex, was that the Mexican flu outbreak was the most likely the seeding, and that this now transition as the virus is going from America to Asia and then to Europe, the Euro-Asia connection. Now you've got Baxter, the most untrustworthy company in the field of pharmaceuticals, is actually spreading spreading avian flu, H5N1, in their H1N1 vaccinations to 18 European laboratories, and they say it's an accident. At the same time, you've got a train that somehow there's an accident in a laboratory, vials blow up inside a box. I mean, it's ridiculous accidents that are happening to
on a train. And remember, this is Baxter with Bayer knowingly shipping out the AIDS product.
Right.
I mean, this is incredible.
It's unbelievable, and there's no mention of this in the mainstream. So we're really looking at absolutely with the new affidavit. With the affidavit, you've got the definitive proof. You've got all the links that show you that the Rockefeller Trust from the partnerships of New York City is intimately engaged in not only the deception through the mainstream media, but actually engaged in the vaccination, intoxication, and the dissemination of these hideously toxic vaccines.
Now, I want to go back to something, and I want to get your take on it, and then Sherri's take on this. We have confirmed, this is up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, and we're getting more and more of these every hour coming in from Texas and New York and Illinois, healthcare workers, school teachers, people that run daycares, daycare workers, police. They're being called in and they're told, you got to take the regular flu shot, and many of them in the last 2 weeks have already been forced to do it through color of law. They're told it's a new regulation. The Fed said we have to. They don't show them any law. They say we're under level 6. And they say, don't tell anyone we made you do this. I mean, how criminal is that? How obviously underhanded and stinking to high heaven is that? And we now have these documents. In fact, we'll go to InfoWars and punch it up on screen. It's got the document posted in the article, Home Healthcare Workers in New York Required to Get Vaccinated. That's on the main page of InfoWars. You click on it, and here's the letter where they're told, you take this or you're fired. So Obama's saying you don't have to take it, but quietly they're testing to see if they can force the medical workers and police to do it, because if they can force them, then they can try to force the general public.